Hi, welcome to the Fine Tuning Your Illustrations tutorial. And in this tutorial is meant for after you do your animation and your characters, um, you're just making them a little bit more fine-tuned, a little bit more professional looking. And to start off, I want to talk about just what makes an illustration pleasing to look at. And for me, one of the main things is that an illustration is made of beautiful shapes. And to make a beautiful shape, I think it's important to focus on straight lines and curves. Um, I taught art for elementary school kids a little bit ago, and one of the exercises we did is we took a sheet of paper, or just a square of a paper, and I had them just do straight and curved lines in kind of a random order to make a bunch of pleasing shapes. So basically, here's the square, and what we did is we did a straight, a curve, a straight, a curve. You can do another curve, just kind of randomly go about. And then you can also dissect those with straight and curves. So straight, straight, a curve, straight. And after we did this, you can fill a whole paper full of these things. Um, After we did this activity, what we would do is we would go into one of these shapes and find in them some kind of pleasing thing that they liked, or just find a shape that they liked, and then they tried to make a character out of that shape. So for this shape right here, I like it. I mean, I think it could be a deer. You know, it could be a deer or a fox kind of thing. Going this way, it could be some sort of bird flying around. Um, let's pick another shape. That's interesting. Well, this one, I mean, you can make a. What's interesting is you can make a face almost out of any shape. And I mean, with this one, this could be the person's nose, and maybe their mouth's over here. um, or maybe they have a big pipe in their mouth that they're smoking. Anyway, the point is, a lot of professional cartoons are made up of pleasing shapes. And as examples, I have here the Fairly Odd Parents. And with them, you notice these beautiful, an oval shape, straight, curve, straight, beautiful shapes that they use to make their characters. And really, the fundamentals of drawing, you're always going to start with these, just fundamental shapes. If you're drawing a cup, you want to focus on the fundamental shape, oval, two lines down, and then an oval, just of solid drawing techniques. Breaking, if you're drawing a human, you want to break it down into its basic shapes. Circles, rectangles, ovals, triangles. This is just a little skeleton. But if you're building a person, maybe with muscles or whatever, you're doing circles and cylinders to build a person. You want to focus on those basic shapes. Anyway, so now, if you already know that, you probably already know that. How do we use Flash to make pleasing shapes? Because it is kind of hard to control the lines sometimes. So the main tool I want to show you is the Smooth tool. And if I were to draw a blob right here, fill that in. This is just a random shape. And actually maybe make it a little crazier. Maybe this shape right here on the bottom, I wanna make that a little bit better and a little straighter or smoother. And there's a couple ways to correct it. One, I could just get my eraser and erase it until it's a pleasing shape. I'm just going to undo that. Now, another way to do it is you could get your arrow, your direct select tool. Shortcut is A. It's over here. It's the white arrow instead of the black arrow. Now, I'm going to show you a tool that I use all the time, and it's kind of a smoothing tool. What I can do is I can get my lasso tool, so press L for lasso, or select it above, and if I just want to smoothen out this edge, I'm going to select it, and then once I select something, and then if I press V or this black arrow, Flash will give me these options up here. There's a line that's like an S and a straight one. This is the smooth button, and this is the straighten button. So what it'll do, if I click this button once, it'll smoothen out my edge a little bit. If I click it, I can click it a couple times and it just smooths it out. Straighten, it will, so smoothen will kind of simplify the curve, and straighten will straighten the curve. Okay, so it did a couple cool things there. So that's what I do to kind of refine a shape, is I use that smooth tool. Now, what's really nice is I've got it now to a shortcut key. So let's say I wanted this to be a pleasing shape for a head, but you know, there's a couple of bumps there. There's a couple of bumps over here. What I think would be helpful is to make a shortcut key for the smooth function. So go to keyboard shortcuts. Let's see here. Is it under Edit? Well, I have a keyboard shortcut for keyboard shortcuts, and it's Command K for me, but find your keyboard shortcuts. And in the search bar, type in smooth. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I put a space in between it. So if you type in smooth, there's a couple options. There's advanced smooth, optimize, and smooth. Now I've used all of these, but just for this purpose, just choose the smooth one and create your own shortcut for it. Mine is Control Shift Command S. That's kind of complicated. So if you want a different one, if you want just S for smooth, you know, that's not a bad one. So if that's a good idea, maybe I'll just change mine to S. Oh, yeah. Undo. Well, yeah, I'm going to keep it the way I want it. Alright, so what you can do really quickly is select the edges that you want with your lasso tool, and then I'm just going to click my my option a few times until it smooths it out. You can click it as much as you want, and it'll just, yeah, you can undo it, redo it, until you get the shapes that you need. So that's what I do to refine the edges of something to make it a nice clean shape, is to use that smooth tool. So hopefully that solves most of it. If you want it a little more refined, you can get your direct select tool, and you can actually edit the points and you know, edit these things if you need it really precise. Okay, next thing is, yeah, let me show you an example of one of these objects here. So these objects appear in the animation. I just created a new layer, and then in my library I found them and I just dragged them on to a separate layer. So for, I don't know, let's do the sandwich here. So for just with those principles in mind, you know, let's think of just straights and curves. So for this sandwich, this top one here, what I want is maybe a really nice curve on the top, and then straight, and then beveled edges. And also, you know, we want to think of symmetry a little bit. But basically what I'm going to do is just going to go in here, maybe I'll just add a little bit more mass to this little sandwich thing. Okay, now see, now this is where I'd use my smooth button. You see there's some little notches there. I'm just going to grab my lasso tool and I'm going to smooth that up a little bit. Same on this edge. There's a few bumps that I want to correct. Okay, I think that's fine. Now, what's cool with Flash, if you want to, you can make that its own symbol. So, sandwich bread. Since I'm going to be using this same shape on the bottom, let me just, delete that one and use this same shape. So I have this. I'll just Alt, click and drag to make a copy of it, or you can press copy and paste. And, actually I'm going to get the color of that bottom piece still, so I'm going to undo it. So if I want this one to be the same color as that, I'm going to click it, go to my Properties panel, go to Color Effect, and go down to Tint. And what I can do with my tint, I can click this color, and it'll give me an eyedropper tool. So I'm just going to eyedrop that color if I want that color. Okay, so I have the same shape, different colors. And with these lettuce and tomato, whatever that is, I'm just going to click those and make them a symbol. Lettuce and tomato, just so that I can easily edit if I wanted to. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there, and I'll put this on top. Now, find shortcut keys to sometimes, to change the order of where the objects are. Like place behind or place on top of. I have shortcuts set up for that, so find shortcuts that work for you. Okay. So now what I'm seeing is let's change the shape of these a little bit so I have more of these curves coming out. And maybe I'll see this tomato a little bit darker red. It needs to come out a little bit more because the bread comes out a little bit more. I don't know. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. Some of these. Maybe even a little bit more here. Alright. So there we go. If we're pleased with that, then there's my updated sandwich. Okay, now really quick, let's do it again for, let's do the TV, because that's one of the vocab words in this animation. So for this TV, let's click inside of it to go inside of it. Now we got to decide what kind of shape we want this to be. I like the round edges, the round corners. So if we want to keep that's fine. We just got to define what this shape is, though. So I don't know, we could just spend some time kind of thinking of maybe the perspective of this thing. If we don't need to do that necessarily. Let's see here. Well, for the antennas, maybe just let's fine tune these antennas first. So I'm gonna make it a symbol, TV antenna, and let's make it more of an antenna shape. Let's see, what am I gonna do here? Now it's cool with Flash, with this arrow, with the black arrow tool, or V. If you go to the side of a shape, it gives this little curve on the bottom of the arrow, and what that means is you can just select and move that curve. See that? If I'm not clicking it, I'm not pressing any buttons, I'm just hovering over, and then once it shows that, I'm clicking and dragging. So if I want to edit something like that, that's a really easy way to edit. It's really quick. So for antenna, maybe a thinner line, and then you can get your shape tools up here help a lot. Maybe I'm just gonna make a perfect circle. I'll delete that stroke, and yeah, okay. And then once I have one done, I'll delete this other one. I'll just replicate it, rotate it over, okay, make it more of a antenna looking thing. Okay, now this TV shape. It just depends on, you could do this many ways. Just to find, what's going on here with it. Let's see. Now let me go into the next part, actually, as I'm doing this TV. So the next step, after you have a pleasing shape, let's say we're satisfied with this sandwich and its shape. The next step to fine-tuning the illustration and making it, look a little bit more attractive, is adding a little bit of depth to it. And all you do is you add a color that is lighter or darker. So, as an example, for this piece of bread, what I want to add a little bit more depth to it is I'm going to select the color. I'm going to go to my color window, and it has the color already there. I'm going to move it up a little bit, and then I'm going to add another color to it just to make it a little bit more interesting to look at. A light and a dark on a single object is pleasing to look at. So I could do that to make it more like the crust. Now I could take it a step further. So let me smooth these lines a little bit. To take it a step further, this part right here, I think could use a light and a dark. So I'm going to select that color, go up a little bit. Now this is an important thing. When you have your brush tool selected, or B, go up here to brush mode, and an option that I use all the time, normally it's on paint normal. I use the paint inside function. So click on that. Click on the paint inside, and what it does is once you start inside a color, even if you stray outside of the borders, it'll only remain inside of there. So I like to use that all the time. So that's something to add interest to your objects. Add a little bit more of just two colors, a light and a dark on each of the object. So for this TV, I was thinking that the top of it and the side, just to show that it's more of a 3D object here, I want to add a light to the top of it. So I'm going to select it, get my color, go up. I'm going to add a light part of it on the top of it just to show that it's 3D, and then maybe I'll add a dark to the side of it to show the side of it. You don't have to do this, but because you want to stay true to your design. Maybe that's because I like the style of just the round, fun thing. So maybe that's the screen poking out right there. I don't know. You just need to define what that TV looks like. Yeah. Maybe that's the actual screen of the TV going. Maybe not though. It just needs to make sure that it looks like a TV, and you can always put in some chords and stuff too. Let's see here. And always use, whenever you can, make things into symbols. So TV chord, just so much easier to manage. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Just making the shape making focus on the basic shapes, ovals, rectangles, using that smoothing function, and then add a second color, a dark color, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm using that paint inside function. anyway, you can use that. Now the last thing I wanted to show, on the cup, I would redefine those ovals and stuff. Now the final thing is contrast with your characters and your backgrounds, and even within the objects. So like with this sandwich itself, maybe this back piece of bread, I want that a little bit darker. Now a really easy way to do it is to use the color properties function of a symbol. So with this symbol selected, this back sandwich piece, what we have on it right now is tint, but right now what I want to do, I'll go to properties. Instead of tint, I want to do advanced. Now what the advanced does, it gives me these options. What I'm going to do is, so basically on the left side is the dark part of the colors, and then the right side is the light part of the colors. So to make this a little bit darker, I want to go to the dark side and just bump them down like 10%. So they're all at 35% right now. I'll bump all of them down to 25%. Okay, interesting. Did it a little bit darker. Now if you want, you can just slide these down and experiment. I'm going to go all the way down just to make some contrast with that sandwich background. Okay, now with characters and backgrounds, I use this all the time. Now with this background and this bee, you can see that because they're so similar in color and also in value, the nice shapes of the bee character kind of get lost. So what I can do is I can select this background, which is a symbol. This only works if it's a symbol. Go to my properties, I'll go down to advanced, and I'm going to drag these things down a little bit. You can, if you do all of them at the same percentage, then it maintains the same kind of color, but it changes the value of that color. So I would drag that down a little bit so that you have more of a contrast between your characters and the background. Yeah. Now, one last thing of character, just really making this character pop. If you notice, I got this. This is Gravity Falls, and this is Fairly Odd Parents. Now, I look at professional animations to get ideas, and one of the best places I think you can look is, you can go to Nickelodeon.com, or to stay fresh on just new styles, go to theconceptartblog.com. Let's see here. The concept. Oh, there it is. And now this site is, I think it's in French or something, but you can have Google translate it. But what it has the latest and greatest examples of professional studio animations and the concept art behind them. So the character design. So here it is, theconceptartblog.com. And every day there's a new, I think nearly every day there's a new just post of somebody's character designs or trailers. And it has a ton of resources. So you can get lost in there looking for professional examples of how to illustrate. And with these animations, there's no set style guide, so yeah, awesome. I love looking at this. Anyway, so to add a little bit more interest to characters, so to your, this cute little bee character, maybe it has some rosy cheeks. Now these are always just to plus it. Now obviously you don't have to do all of these suggestions. It's just because the more you do, obviously it's going to take a lot of time. And art, you can noodle it forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that a symbol. cheek. I can spell it right. Anyway, I didn't spell it right, but duplicate that. Also, to add interest to a character is, use that. You could add a gradient to the head. I wouldn't, because I like the flat design here. I would just add a second color to it. So a dark, maybe you could add a part of it to make it lighter, or a shadow. So it just depends on what you want to do. You can add a little bit of light on the top, a light shape on the top. Let's see, you can't really see that. You could also do a dark shape on the bottom. And actually, whenever there's under the head, it's always a good place to do a little drop shadow. So on this body, I'm going to do a little bit darker, and then draw a little curve right there, just so it's a little drop shadow, so that the head pops out a little bit more. Anyway, I hope that helps kind of give you some ideas of how to fine-tune illustrations a little bit more in Flash. And yeah, happy illustrating. Thank you.